Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Zeez podcast. This is episode 5. Yep. Haven't forgotten. Glad to be back once again. I always love doing these podcasts. And once again, Emmy has returned as well. Would you like to say hi?
No, I wouldn't.
Podcast over. Just kidding. So, podcast time. We usually talk about some stuff. Last time we were talking a lot about like the game that we were making, and if you didn't see that, it was a pretty fun discussion. Not really to piggyback off of that, but when it comes to like, you know, powerful computer programming and whatnot, you have been sort of building your own computer. Would you like to share some insights on that?
To be honest, I'm like so much of a beginner on it. I had some help from one of my friends who actually like is super into building it, and he had a spreadsheet ready to go. Like he was just like, "Oh, you're building a computer? I have a spreadsheet."
That's impressive.
It is. I think a lot of people do that. I think it was just I could get more bang for my buck that way. Also, like just don't buy. Like, if you see those pre-built gaming PCs, don't buy them. They kind of all suck.
Okay, hold on.
Like, in terms of build quality.
I kind of have one of those. I've swapped out, like, 2 parts, but for the most part, it actually functions well. I think it's just that you have to buy the right one.
I feel like it'll work. I just think, like, the build quality, like, if you're willing to build your own, you'll get a lot better for a lot less.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I got, like, a lower-end one and swapped out with higher... Yeah, I customized mine a little bit. I bought like a lower end one and then customized it with higher grade materials and whatnot. But, you know, it works out pretty well. It gets the job done. I haven't really had anything wrong with it. The only issue is that it has like some memory issues. But for the most part, it...
Memory issues?
Yeah, it whenever I have OBS overloaded with too many things and I go to close it, it blue screens my computer. It's only with OBS. That is the only problem I've had with this computer. Everything else is fine.
Reminds me of a bug on this laptop that I'm on right now, actually. So during the pandemic, I would constantly have like my laptop plugged into an external monitor, right? Except not always. Sometimes I'd want to unplug it to like use it elsewhere.
But whenever like, and it would just be nothing when you unplug it or something?
No, it would blue screen whenever I unplugged it from that one specific monitor. And I think it's because I set my Windows backup drive as connected to the hub, that I just yanked out the hub, and I think Windows didn't like that.
Oh, huh.
So funny though. But going back to the PC builds process, I feel like one big thing that everyone always like thinks a lot about is the RGB. That's always like a huge thing, I feel like.
That's literally just aesthetic though. That's all it is.
It is. I feel like there's a lot of things in the PC build process that are purely aesthetic though, like form factor and whatnot, or which case to get. I mean, a lot of it is just aesthetic, and sometimes like aesthetically pleasing things cost more because they do.
Yeah, and they tend to push a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I've never bought into the whole RGB stuff. I feel like I'm going to get attacked by many people in these comments right now that are going to be like, Emmy's not into RGB stuff. We have to cancel her now.
Cancel for a random fit. Oh my gosh.
Your show's going to get canceled now, Zeez, because you brought on someone that like did not like RGB.
No, listen. I do not care about RGB, but I do have it because, like I said, I've got one of those pre-built gaming PCs where I just swapped out some of the stuff. But like the RGB, it honestly is just more annoying in my opinion, because sometimes I'll leave my computer on like at nighttime. Like sometimes I'll render a video so that, you know, it renders while I'm sleeping, and I can't go to sleep because the RGB lights are too bright. And I'm like, great, well, there we go.
I'm just like imagining you throwing like, actually, I ran into the same problem when I used to back up my computer. The screen was, the backup screen was blue. And so I would just throw like my shorts over the computer screen while it was backing up, because I did it at night. because I didn't want to like do it during the daytime because it would take so long. I'm imagining you right now just throwing like a tarp or some shirt over your PC.
Now, it's funny you say that. I don't actually do it on the PC, but what I do is I'll take like a jacket and I'll put it over a chair, and then I'll move the chair in front of the PC, and it blocks where my bed is, because I don't actually sleep on a bed. Fun fact, every one of my friends bullies me for this. I don't have a bed. I literally sleep on the floor, and I'm pretty much fine with it. I do have some blankets for like padding and whatnot, but I don't sleep on a bed.
What? Yeah, I didn't even know this about you until now, so this is news to me. I'm probably gonna start making fun of you for it too as well, now that I know it.
Dude, everybody,
so you shouldn't have told me.
Dude, it's because my room is where my job is, and I don't have room for a bed. If I did, I don't know where I'd move it, because I constantly use the space where my bed is for content. So it's just like, because what I do is I shove my bed, or my blankets underneath like a table, and then I pull them out every night.
Under the table.
Yes. It's like, okay, listen. They do that in some countries, okay? Some countries do that. They take they don't have beds.
Well, I know that. I mean, there's a wide variety of cultures around the world. I feel like, could you get like a fold out?
I guess I could, but the thing is, I'm also running out of a lot of space to put things in my apartment, because my apartment is not like crazy big, and I just don't have a lot of room for things. A lot of the furniture that we got and just like stuff that we got were like from family members, and they're like, some of the things are pretty big and like oversized, and we don't really have like good spots to put them. So they just take up so much room. Like when my family was like supporting me when I first moved out, they offered like, hey, maybe we could like pitch in and help you get a dining table. And I was like, that would be nice, but there's no room for it. Like if I would put a dining table anywhere, it would literally be where our shoes are for the door, because there's no room. There's like a small amount of room in the apartment, and if we were to put anything there, then you'd have to like dodge and weave through everything.
That is, I guess that's just part of the content creator life. You just have like your current sized apartment and not enough space for everything.
Yeah, it kind of happens, but you know, it's a necessary it's a necessary sacrifice.
It's a necessary. I feel like we need a picture of that right now. Like it's a necessary sacrifice, and you just
a picture of me with no bed.
Yeah, just a picture of you with no bed, sleeping on the floor. Sadly, that seems like a funny.
It's so funny. Speaking of like sleeping on the floor and whatnot, we had this thing in one of our clubs where we were rooming together for like a club event, and I was like, okay, you know what? There are like 2 beds in here. I can sleep on the floor. I'm cool with that. I was telling that to like the group that I was with. I was like, you know what? I'm cool with sleeping on the floor. I don't mind. And for some reason, they took that and was like, oh, Zeez loves sleeping on the floor. Like, I would rather have a bed. I'm just not going to get one. But they're just like, yeah, he loves sleeping on the floor. And then our freaking club advisor came up to me and was like, so, heard you like sleeping on the floor. And I was like, where are people getting this from? And why is this like a thing that you would even spread? Like, who cares if I like sleeping on the floor? But I felt so uncomfortable that like people were like, why do people think I like sleeping on the floor? I don't. I mean, I slept on a couch at my old home. I didn't actually sleep on a bed. I haven't slept on a bed. Oh gosh, when was the last time I slept on a bed like in a normal schedule? I think it's been like since 2016 since I've actually slept on a bed.
So almost 10 years at this point. So I guess like 7 years.
Yeah, well, the regular. I slept on like, you know, beds here and there, like if I'm at a hotel or whatever. But I haven't slept in a bed normally because I slept on a couch because I lived in the basement of my old house. And then because there was no bed.
Oh, okay.
So I slept on the couch.
I see.
Because I had to sleep on the couch because of the flooding.
I thought you had a bed there. Oh, yeah. There was the flooding thing that happened, wasn't there?
There was the flood of, I think it was 2018? Or was it 17? I forget. The flood of 18. Dude, it wasn't a flood like by natural causes. Our water heater kept dripping. And my dad, who's like really good at like fixing that kind of stuff, he just didn't fix it. So I lived in a watery, moldy basement for like 3 months. Imagine you're sleeping on a couch, right? You get up, like the people where they shift out of bed and they splat their feet on the ground. Imagine doing that, but you don't land in your comfy little slippers. What you land in is water. It was nasty, dude. I don't know how I put up with it for 3 months. But what I did was I would set like little stools out, and I would step across the stools. I couldn't even walk in my room. I couldn't walk, so I stepped on these stools across to get to the couch. I would step to get to my desk, and that was how I got around for 3 months. As I just had these little stools that were like above the water height, because there was like an inch of water. Okay, that's maybe too much. Maybe like a centimeter of water. It was
that's
bad.
Still a lot of water.
It was, because all was like downhill into like this one little crevice, and we don't have a finished basement. It was like completely unfinished, and it was just not good. It was really bad. And finally we did get it fixed. And it only took like 3 months. But it was not good living conditions, I'll say that.
I imagine. I think I remember you talking a lot about... I remember you always like talking about like that when that was going on.
I made a running gag.
Work here. It was kind of a running gag at that point.
I just made it a running gag because that was the only way I could be like, I could just deal with it. Because I was like, oh, I'll just make it a joke. Yeah, I live in basement water. Literally how I lived 3 months. And you know what's the worst part is like it sucked, but like I put up with it, and I'm just like, I want to know how many other people like could put up with that for 3 months, just living. Imagine your room right now, Emmy, filled with water for 3 months. You have to deal with it for 3 months. Could you do that?
Making a lot of thinking sounds. I think I would probably go insane. I'm actually still surprised that you're like here with us and like you're still the same person. I guess like I maybe I would have had a mental break like in the second week. Like it's just you would have seen Emmy break down, and I would not have been the same person. I would have been traumatized by water.
There's water everywhere. No, I think the worst part was that I was in constant fear of dropping my electronics. Because if they hit the ground, it's done. It's game over. So I would always, every time before I went to sleep, I would always like have them in like a very secure spot. I had like freaking duct tape and then like a basket and then a basket inside that basket. And I was like, there's no way they're falling out. I'm making sure. And like every time I picked them up, I'd be like, two hands. Because if I drop it, it goes straight into the water. It was, oh my gosh.
I guess the floor was pretty much just like lava for your electronics. You just drop it and it just get fried.
Literally, it was the floor is lava, but for 3 months. There were some times where I just, accidentally stepped in the water because I didn't have a choice. But, I did my best to deal with it. I still don't know how I think back and I'm like, man, I really just put up with that, huh?
So, I guess like finishing up the PC build process, because I think we kind of like strayed from that.
Yeah, I went on a tangent. Sorry.
You went on a tangent about your basement water.
And the fact that I just don't sleep on a bed.
I think another interesting thing about buying PC parts, I learned this while looking online. There's a lot of great videos online. If you want to like you can get really deep into it. There's like hours and hours of YouTube videos.
Linus Tech Tips.
Online. Yeah, pretty much. There's this one big Linus Tech Tips video, I think, that most people start out watching. It's like a couple hours long about like going from zero to building your PC. I think I watched that.
And not to interrupt you, sorry, even though that's exactly what I'm doing. Linus Tech Tips, there is like a meme with... Well, obviously there is the meme of him staring, which is a funny meme. I don't think you know about it, but
I don't know that one.
A lot of my friends would always call him Linus Teach Tips. I thought it was funny, but I had you remember Gerg, right? You remember Gerg from Gerg Enders? This guy,
yeah, I do,
would love to just sit down and watch Linus Teach Tips and like expect us to watch it with him. Linus Teach Tips is not something that you watch with your friends. When you want to watch YouTube with your friends, you put on like a silly video. You don't put on, hey guys, it's me, Linus Teach Tips. We're here to review the latest gizmo gadget from this thing. And it's like, nobody is gonna watch that with their friends. And I was like, yeah, I could get into it because like I kind of like it. But we had like 3 other friends at the time who just weren't computer nerds. They didn't care. And they were just like, what are we supposed to do? We're just like watching Linus Teach Tips, and we're not even getting taught tips.
Well, you just gave me like a funny idea for a joke. Actually, what if we what if you did like a reaction video to Linus Tech Tips?
No way! Is he pulling it out of the box? There's no way! No way! It's that powerful? No way! Linus Teach Tips, you are the craziest Teach Tips I've ever met. Do you go by Teach? Can I call you Teach? Is it Mr. Tips? Hello, Mr. Tips.
No, actually, that same friend that was helping me out. There's this funny story actually about it, about Linus Tech Tips involving this friend that was helping me out actually. So he was helping another person build a PC during one weekend, and I think there was a part where they were confused, and he was like, "Oh, no problem. I'll just pull up Linus Tech Tips because obviously he knows how to do this, and I've seen him do it before." And he went to pull up Linus Tech Tips. Except Linus Tech Tips was gone. Like, their YouTube channel was gone.
What?
Just totally... Yeah, so apparently exactly that weekend they were building it, Linus Tech Tips got hacked, and they had to, like...
Oh, no!
And I think, like they had to, like, take down the channel and then, like, put it back up in order to, like, get it back or something. There was something weird that had to happen.
That's been happening to a lot of creators recently, where it's either, like, hacked, or I've been seeing some creators get their channels taken down, even though that like makes no sense. That actually happened to me. My Clips channel, which is the channel I care the least a bit about, which so I was kind of fine with it. But it got taken down just out of nowhere, and I appealed the decision, and it came back up like 6 hours later, which I was super thankful for.
Oh wow!
But it was like happening to other creators too. Like YouTube was just like, yeah, your channel yoink, gone. And I was thankful that it was just my Clips channel. Like if it was like Zeez VS The Teacher, I would have lost out on like a whole day's worth of monetization. Or just like I
mean, yeah, that's a lot.
I make the joke about monetization, but I would have cared more about like, yo, that's the channel that has like the most attention. Is my target audience just completely gone? Like what?
Wouldn't the algorithm really punish you if like you didn't upload for a day?
Well, no. Well, it would. I think it definitely would be punishing because you would like lose out on views for like a day. So they'd be like, oh, people are watching this guy's content less. So then it would probably dip me down. But no, you can upload. You don't have to upload like all the time on YouTube. Back a while ago, it was all about uploading every single day. And while that is still like a decent strategy, it's all about like watch time now. As long as you have like really good watch time, yeah. As long as you have good watch time, you will be recommended. Like you can upload like maybe once a month, 2 times a month. But if you have like crazy insane watch time, like if people are watching your video like all the way through, that is what YouTube is going to promote all the time. That's why you see like things like video game challenges or whatever. They do so well because people want to see how the challenge is done, so they'll stay for the whole video. And there's usually some sort of payoff at the end. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it's that kind of thing.
Oh, I get it. So like you see those like channels that like upload like documentaries pretty much onto YouTube.
Yeah,
like that they made.
The video essays go pretty hard with the watch time.
I see. Makes sense. No, but the funniest part about the channel that when it got deleted, the reason it got deleted, I think, was like it got like turned into like an NFT or a Bitcoin channel. Yeah, I think during that time,
the crypto bros got a hold of it. Oh man,
I think that was the funniest part of how they got the channel got yoinked.
Poor Linus Teach Tips. That's very unfortunate for them.
Yeah, so that's the funny story my friend had about Linus Teach Tips being gone the one weekend he needed them because NFT is pretty much just solely because of NFTs.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I like how you just naturally said Linus Teach Tips now. Everybody who's watching the podcast, please refer to Linus Tech Tips. It's just Linus Teach Tips from now on. First name Linus, last name Tips, middle name Teach. My dad went by Teach. Call me Linus. If you're under the age of 2, call me Mr. Tips.
Oh my gosh, you're already abusing your content creator privileges of influencing large numbers of people to do inane things.
Listen, I mean, at this rate, people are going to start calling me Mr. G, so... Anyways,
that's all I have about the PC build process. Unfortunately, I'm very much a beginner. Maybe you'll finally start to hear my voice out of a better mic in PC soon.
Oh yeah, I am looking forward to that.
HD Emmy. HD Remake Emmy.
Aw, snap. The Emmy HD Remake coming soon to a podcast near you. That's what we like to hear, especially. Because, get it? Because, never mind. It was a hearing joke. Okay, anyway. So, as we know, I mentioned that you are quite the smart and intelligent person, but you're also very hardworking. And I was thinking about this because I get asked this question a lot, at least like with YouTube stuff. And, you know, you're, like I said, probably one of the hardest working people that I know. And I want to know, what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? Oh my gosh, that's a very deep question.
It is. I know. That's why I thought it would be interesting to talk about on the old podcast.
Well, I guess it just depends on what I'm doing. Like what keeps me motivated to do my chores, I guess, is having a clean apartment. But if you're talking about my work, I think I think I genuinely like doing my work, and that's what keeps me motivated to continue doing it. Though I think it helps to also have a healthy dose of anxiety. I will be somewhat upfront about this. I've had like moments where like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough work, and everyone's like, Emmy, what the heck are you talking about? You are doing enough work. Actually, that just happened recently. My supervisor pretty much told me that I was over sweating it with the work that I was putting in. He was like, don't sweat it that much. But yeah, if you want, I can probably go a bit deeper if I get into the specifics of what my work is and what interests me about it. But I'm not sure if that'll be too deep for this podcast format. What do you think?
No, I think we can go for it. I mean, I'm mainly looking for, you know, you can talk about your job and whatnot, but I'd like to see more just like at the root of like, you know, like what gets you up in the morning, or like what makes you like want to keep working. You know, because sometimes it's just like you have like routines, and some people like get bored of that routine. It's like, oh, I gotta go to work, gotta do this now. And you know, some people just feel burnt out by the end of the day, and they just don't want to end up doing anything besides like playing video games or whatever. For example, like my sister, sometimes she is so burnt out from work that she doesn't even have energy to play video games. She just wants to like sit there and sleep. So, you know, what makes it where you feel that you can do more in a day than like a person who would feel more burnt out? Like, how do you get motivated and not feel like you're burning yourself out, even though you work so hard, I guess?
Well, I wouldn't say I don't burn myself out. I definitely do sometimes, and I do crash a bit. Okay, so I'll talk about it in two parts. There's the things I like doing, which, like in my work, so I work as a graduate student, as Zeez said, and so what that's kind of like, I guess not a lot of people really know what that's like, so like when you think of grad school, I mean, a lot of people think that you're just like a student, and you're just like, it's like super college, pretty much.
Super college.
I mean, that's kind of how it is. But you're also working. So a lot of what grad students do is a lot of them have teaching assistant jobs. So they get like a lot of the teaching assistants at universities that are like that pretty much help out the professors and faculty with courses. A lot of those are grad students.
Yeah, and you mainly focus on doing research, right?
Yeah, and also doing research. So it's a balance of a lot of those things. It depends on what you happen to be doing at that time. There's a lot of responsibilities that you have, or you can take on as a grad student, depending on what you're feeling up for, I guess. So like that, the last quarter, I was a teaching assistant for a class, and I really enjoyed that because I personally enjoyed helping and teaching students. I had the displeasure of having like many classes with very bad teaching assistants, and I didn't want to do that, but I also just enjoy helping people learn how to code. I guess what keeps me motivated to do research is I am just genuinely kind of a really curious person. Like there's stuff out there, I guess, that we just don't know yet about the world, and I want to find that out. It's like it's not in a textbook somewhere, and so you really got to go out there and find it out. And that's what I guess motivates me to keep going and doing that work. So there's the work I enjoy. There's that part.
I think that's really cool. That's pretty inspiring. I like what you said about doing the teaching assistant, because, throughout, high school and whatnot, you always helped me a lot because you were more academically intelligent than I was. So I did appreciate you teaching. I will say, not to pin you down or anything, but the way you taught when you were younger was very hard to follow, because you would go really, really fast.
Oh yeah,
and you would
remember that.
You would go over like things that were like way over my head at the time, and sometimes it got like way too complicated. But I loved that, like, over the years I got to see you like teach other people as well. In our club you were put into a leadership position where you actually had to teach people to be ready for like the next year, and it was good to see that, because it really showed like you were growing as a teacher. And I could just always see that even though like you didn't start off as like great, you really liked it, or I guess you were always ready for it. It seemed like anytime you had like a chance to teach somebody something new, you would take it. And like, I know it's like a natural human thing that humans like to teach, but it feels like especially true for you, because I've always seen myself as a pretty bad teacher. In Boy Scouts, I was like okay, because it was more like outdoor skills, but when it came to like academics or anything, I could barely do that. My little sister would help me, or she would ask me for help sometimes, and I could never really give her any good answers besides like, this is the formula, you just got to follow the formula, if it came to like a math thing. But you've always been I guess just always had like a niche, or I guess a knack for teaching, I guess.
Well, it's funny you mentioned math. So I actually do a lot of math research for my work, and I feel like math is probably one of the most misunderstood subjects of all, like not of all time, but one of the most misunderstood subjects.
How do you mean?
Mostly because of the way, because we teach it in such a weird way to people. Like the way we teach it to people is like, you have to follow this formula and there's this recipe and you're supposed to get it this way, because like it's a lot of math, when you learn it, is about getting the answer, right? Like is that a fair characterization, you think?
I suppose so.
Like, it's about following the directions, and if you follow the directions, then you'll get the right answer.
Right, and then you gotta also show all your work, or else the teachers will be like, you cheated, minus 10 points.
Well, yeah, but when you get to actually, like, doing math at, like, a high level, I don't have any instructions to follow anymore. Like, there's no more instructions. Like, I just have a problem now, and I kind of have to figure out how to solve it. It's kind of like a puzzle. Like, you don't have instructions anymore. It's like, to give an analogy, it would be like in a video game like Tears of the Kingdom. Like, it'd be like if someone like gave you like instructions on how to solve each of the puzzles, instead of you just being given the problem and a bunch of tools, and you have to now figure out how to use those tools to solve the problem.
Yeah,
so
it's like
math.
It's like genuine real world application, as opposed to like random people sitting at their desk being like, how do we create a problem so that these middle schoolers can solve it for us?
Well, I think it's a bit more than that. There's problems that I solve that don't have any real-world applications, but they're still interesting because I see them as kind of like puzzles. Like, they're like solving a Rubik's Cube has no real-world application. Well, I'm good. A few mathematicians are probably gonna go scream at me right now in the distance. A lot of math problems that you solve won't have real-world applications, but I think what a lot of people don't get is that that's okay, sort of, because solving problems kind of makes you better at solving more problems. It's kind of like solving one puzzle, even if it's not like the main quest of the game, it'll make you better at solving different puzzles in the game, and maybe that'll get you along as well. Maybe you had fun along the way. I feel like math, when they teach it, is a lot about like the destination, when it's really more about the journey.
Oh my gosh, you hit us with that for math? Oh my goodness, man.
I'm sorry, I'm so cheesy.
No. I think that actually works well. I mean, for me at least, it's funny. Progressively, as I've gotten older, I have gotten worse at math. When I was younger, I was like the best kid in the class at math. I would get like 100 on every test.
Oh, you've mentioned this.
And as the years went on, I got progressively worse and worse. And then, I was always able to like maintain an A and a B. And then like once calculus hit, it was like, I'm dead, dude. I'm dead. I freaking died.
I remember
dude.
Calculus. I remember you talking about that.
I barely passed calculus, dude. I don't know why. I just, maybe it's because I had like a lot of my resources being put elsewhere. But just, I don't know what it was. For me, calculus was just so hard to wrap my head around. I don't know why. It just really was tough.
Like, everyone kind of learns at their own pace, and the pace at which calculus was taught, at least at our school, was, like, kind of insane, actually. Now that I reflect back on it, and I wouldn't fault people for needing longer to learn it. Like, I feel like you could learn calculus. I don't think like how long you take to learn something really is reflective of like your ability. Like there's plenty of people that are like actually way better at math. There's like prodigies that are just, they can just look at an equation and be like, oh yeah, it's elementary. This equation is so simple. And
it's I'm just like, what are we talking?
Actually, one of my professors, his catchphrase was, well, obviously.
Oh my gosh, that's the most... Well, obviously, the answer would be if you use this formula.
It was like, no, but he would say it in like such like a calm manner. He's like, well, obviously.
That's so good, oh my gosh.
Actually, to be honest, he was probably one of my better professors, too.
That's funny.
In grad school.
I do have a random question for you. When it comes to tests with math, do you think that there should be calculators allowed for every single test?
Depends on what it is. If I'm asking, it depends on what I'm testing, right? If I'm testing like your multiplication tables, if I'm testing you if you know how to do multiplication, probably not. Like
no, I think I mean at the higher level, I guess. If it's like addition, whatever. But I think like at the higher level, like high school level, I think.
I think so. I think at the higher level, it should be allowed, unless you're testing something very specific that a calculator would like defeat the purpose of.
I completely agree with that, because there were plenty of tests like without calculators where, sometimes you just like lose a few points here and there because of just like random miscalculations. Whereas if I felt like I had a calculator, I could just double check. If nothing, just to double check. Because sometimes it's easier to do the math in your head and you can just like, write it down while you're thinking of it. But having like the I guess backup of being able to double check things with calculators is so nice. And I know for sure throughout like my days in math throughout high school and whatnot, there are so many points that I lost due to just like, mistaking one small thing.
If it makes you feel any better, Zeez, there was a math quiz I took in college where there was this huge number of equations and variables, and I like for some reason I just turned it into one in the next line. There's no reason. I guess I was in a hurry and I was just like, this is one now. I'm not sure if that makes you feel any better.
I'm more surprised, I guess.
I've often joked that I still make a lot of mistakes too. So I've often joked that I sold my ability to count and to do addition for higher level math skills.
You removed the basic skill level.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not like you. They're important, but you can always mistakes can be double checked. Einstein actually notoriously made a lot of addition and multiplication errors. His wife would double check him on that.
It's so funny that you say that. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that stupid SpongeBob episode where they're building on top of like nothing. Or let's say you build like a wooden plank, like a bunch of wooden planks straight up, and then you start building wooden planks horizontally out from that, and you can make a huge diving board. But the back end is crashed, but you're still building. So like you have all this high level math, but all your like basics are crumbling. There's like a SpongeBob gag of it, and it's so funny, dude. But that's exactly what I pictured when you said that. It's like, I forgot how to do basic math, but I can do like turbo mega mind freaking math.
Well, it's not that I forgot how to do it. I still make I make a lot more mistakes than you'd expect. Well, it turns out, going back to the topic though, Yeah, I think calculators should be allowed. I mean, so I think there's a lot of students where, like, you're pretty much punishing people that make mistakes when you make more mistakes than people in general. With, like, you're pretty much unfairly punishing them because there's like tools out there that exist in the world that would help them, like, prevent them from making the mistakes, and they should probably learn how to use those to adapt to the real world. But you're just saying that no, you can't do that for no reason.
Right. I think my whole like ideology with it is just like, if something is always going to be accessible to me in the real world, it should be available on a test. Unless it's like, you know, like low level math, sure. Like, you know, grade school addition 2 + 2, like, yeah, whatever. Don't use a calculator there. But like for like higher level maths and just like other resources in general, like I think a lot of English tests should be like, if you're doing a thing on a book, a lot of it should be open book, I believe, because you want to test people based on like their skill of like analysis or whatever, not memorization.
I don't think you should test memorization. I think memorization is something you can learn over time as you need it. Like it definitely helps to be able to recall specific parts of a book when you're writing an essay without looking at it. That'll make you quicker. If that's what you do for a living, is like writing essays and whatnot, then there are people who do a lot of writing for a living. But that's something you can learn and pick up and practice over time. What you really want to test, though, is analysis, and you're really right on that. Most people, honestly, I feel like when I was writing a lot of essays in college, you would have access to material like outside, like you would be able to look at it and really plan it out, and not being able to use the book seems kind of dumb in retrospect.
Yeah, I definitely prefer like having like the open resource type of things. It's just like memorization is just never been my strong suit. I would always just spam flashcards. Another weird thing, just, you know, talking more about math, I don't know if you've like heard of people that have this, but weirdly enough, I'm good at physics, but not great at like math. It's so weird. Like, I don't know if it was just the teachers that we had, but whenever there was like physics math, I guess, I was always like capable of understanding it. But when it came to just like regular math problems, calculus and whatnot, I always just struggled with it. And I don't know why.
The physics problems that we did, I think it was easier to get a kind of like wrap your head around. Like, it's easier to have like kind of intuitively understand it, right? Because it's like about physical objects interacting in the world, and most of us have experience with how physical objects ought to behave. And so when you see like, oh, this gravity makes things fall, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. And I feel like that's a lot easier to wrap your head around than like, there's this shape and it has like these properties because of these lines here. And I feel like maybe that could be part of it.
I guess, yeah, now that you say that does make sense, because you can, you know, a lot of math is logic, of course. It's like all logic, but I feel like there's more of a visual logic when it comes to like actual real world like objects. Like whenever you're tested on like a physical thing, you can realize something is like not right if you just think about the problem. Like if something is like, let's say a ball is dropping, you know, your answer is going to be like negative because it's like descending or whatever. If you're talking about,
it shouldn't be going up, right?
Yeah.
So,
but you know, if it's like what approaches the log, and I'm just like, I already am, my mind is already out, dude. It's just like you say the word log. You say the word log to me, and I'm about to go sleep like a log, dude. It's over.
I spent my entire last week looking at logs, so
I do not envy you.
I think it was an alright time. Like I said, I saw it more as a puzzle. Like, I feel like it's kind of like enjoying like a piece of music and enjoying a math problem, or enjoying like really nice food. You need to develop the taste for it. It's not something you get right away. That's
an interesting topic. I like that you said taste. Just to kind of switch topics, I guess, I actually have a horrible, terrible taste of taste. Taste? You know, people say taste, but for taste. But
you mean a palate?
Yeah, I guess a palate. I have a really bad palate because people will like eat food and then say it's garbage, and then I eat it. I'm like, oh, this is delicious. What are you talking about? it's so funny because like I feel like bad quality food is just something that I'm just like used to, I guess. Because like again, a lot of my diet is just like frozen foods. And you know, I've been trying to get better with it recently. I've been eating like more fruits and veggies. And I was actually talking to Little Rookie. He actually gave me some tips on the last podcast with using like a cooking pot to just like have everything, just stuff it in a stew. And I actually want to try and do that soon. But you know,
are you gonna get sponsored by HelloFresh or something soon?
HelloFresh or Blue Apron. Low key, I don't like doing sponsorships, but if there is ever a sponsorship that I completely like 100% am down with, then yes, I might do it. If we're talking like Raid Shadowlands, like no, get out of here, I'm not doing it. But if we're talking like, you know, Blue Apron, HelloFresh, you know, there's a chance because I actually think I would like using those things, and it's definitely really good for somebody like me who, you know, is always really busy, even if it's just like the most minuscule things, because like, you know, they have a lot of like a pre-packaged stuff, and even though it wouldn't be like, you know, completely from scratch, I feel like it would still be fun because I do love cooking. I just never have the time for it, and then like having to clean up afterwards
train
is
up
always
your skills.
Yeah,
like it's good to like just getting experience working with various things and seeing how it turns out.
Yeah, because in Boy Scouts, dude, whenever we do cooking, I was always the one to be like, yo, I want to be the cook. And I would also clean because I felt like it was unfair to make people clean up after my mess, even though I wasn't assigned to it. But I just loved cooking. I thought it was so fun. It is so fun to just kind of like, you know, like watch the ingredients transform into something. I don't know. Maybe that's just like so weird to put it. But I just think cooking is really neat.
I think, no, it makes sense. I mean, cooking is just chemistry. It's chemistry that you can do at home and eat. There's a lot of science behind it. Actually, I really have fun watching all those like food science channels on YouTube. Those are all really cool. But in terms of cooking for yourself, so I've been cooking for a really long time, actually.
Yeah, your noodles are top tier.
Okay, I feel like I don't feel like they're that good. I've seen better.
Remember, I have a bad palate, so to me they're top tier. Okay.
They're not postable to our ramen yet. We'll get there. So I've been cooking for a long time. I started cooking like when I was like probably like 10. It's like probably in 4th grade. I started just making breakfast for myself in the morning. Like it was like really basic. It was just like frozen Eggo waffles with scrambled eggs. The scrambled eggs would be the things that I would actually make. So I'd just like make scrambled eggs every single day for like a long time, and I'd just have frozen Eggo waffles, scrambled eggs. Let's go.
Dude, I love scrambled eggs. They're good.
Yeah. So that's where I started, and then I started just making like breakfast scrambles. After that, once in a while, and honestly, looking back at it, they were all kind of gross. I would just throw like frozen stuff into it, like frozen chicken patties.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Frozen chicken patty. Ew.
I said they're pretty bad. I didn't say they were good now. Well, no, and so I mean, I think and then in high school, I started just like making my own. I started like adding other stuff to my breakfasts. I started learning how to make rice. But like, I guess the point is like, you start really slow. Like you don't really know how to do anything when you learn like some of the basics, and then you learn how to put those basics together to make more complicated things. And you can just start putting more and more like of this techniques and combining them.
Oh yeah, that's the thing about cooking is like, it's really fun because you learn like one thing and it can apply to like so many other things. And just like seeing, you know, like I said earlier, like ingredients transform is just cool. That sounds so cringe, but like the ingredients transform into a marvelous dish. Oh, I am a connoisseur of Gordon Ramsay. Yes, the lamb sauce. You know how it is.
Oh my god, I'm dying. I'm literally dying. That was perfection.
You were a bit of a connoisseur of Gordon Ramsay, though. I mean, like everybody goes through a Gordon Ramsay watch cycle.
I think we do. I haven't watched Gordon Ramsay in such a long time. I will say, like, I trust other people more than Gordon.
Uh-oh, impossible. Play the water phone. Play the water phone. Whee!
It's weird.
I love water phone sound effect.
No, but actually, it was actually pretty recently. Gordon Ramsay. So one of the things he recommended was like when you cook your steak, you should only turn it once. Actually, a lot of professional chefs recommend that. But that's actually not the best way to do it. And there's this guy who like literally did foods. Who's like a chemist who did food science and like designed recipes with science. It's like, now we're going to show using this thermometer why this is not the case with data and science. And I watched that video and I was like, wow, that's
so you're telling me you would pick science food over food created by the heart?
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gordon Ramsay. Science is greater than Gordon Ramsay.
Another random question, actually. I just thought of this. Have you ever had a food that you loved for a long period of your life, then you just hated for a short period of your life, and then love it again now?
Maybe. Let me think.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna say mine. Eggs. I know that's such a weird answer. I loved eggs as a kid, and I ate them all the time. When I turned I think 17, hated them, couldn't stand them. Every time I would feel egg, and any dish I would get be like, ugh, egg, disgusting. And then
I'm devastated right now.
I know you love eggs, but just randomly out of nowhere when I was 20, I was like, you know what? I want some eggs. And then I made myself some scrambled eggs, and I was like...
just a sudden moment in your 20s, just dang,
it was just I had been shot by the cupid of egg or whatever, and it just boom, I was like, I want egg. And then I made egg, and then I ate egg, and I was like, egg good. Egg, oh, my egg go. No, egg, just egg. Very good egg. I've said egg way too many times, it doesn't feel like a real word anymore.
It's either avocados or eggplant, I don't know. Maybe it's pumpkins, honestly. I have no idea
pumpkins
currently.
Is an interesting answer.
It's probably a vegetable. Well, actually, I used to hate pumpkins, actually. I remember telling everyone, it was I hate pumpkins. I hate everything with pumpkins. Why is pumpkin spice anything? It's why do people like pumpkins? This is, awful. Why? Pumpkins are awful. Everyone just looked at me and was like, what is wrong with you, Emmy? Pumpkins are fine. And I'm just no, they're not. They are evil.
I don't dislike pumpkins. I think some things with pumpkin in them.
Well, now I'm okay with them, actually, but I wouldn't say I love them. I'm okay with them now.
I think they're definitely overrated. I do like pumpkin seeds, and I do there's this really good pumpkin roll. So good. There's cream inside. It's not very healthy, but it's so good. I get it every once in a while. Haven't actually got it for a half year or so, but it's so good.
I guess the inverse of what you were talking about would be eggplants for me. So as a kid, I would hate eggplants, like Chinese style eggplants. I would just hate them. I would throw up whenever I had to subject myself to these horrible vegetables. And then I started to like them, and I was like, wow, these are pretty good. And then now I actually don't like them again.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any food that I liked and then I hated and then I liked again. Maybe it's avocados. I used to like avocados a lot, but then there was this weekend where I only ate avocados. Don't ask me why I did this. And I got so sick of avocados. And I should not have done that, but I hated avocados after that. I was just every time I thought about I could even imagine the taste of avocados at any moment, and it would instantly make me nauseous.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it's been so long since I've had an avocado. It's been years, actually, since I've had an avocado. And I think I like them again. Yeah, I think I want some guac now, maybe.
I'm just imagining you're going to the you just go into the market and you pass by the avocados, you just slyly glance over not today.
The avocado toast will have to wait.
So there are some other foods that I hated, or I guess I liked when I was a child, I hate now. I don't like hot dogs, and I do not like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I ate them a ton as a kid, don't like them now. I don't know why.
I think they're both fine. I still eat both of them. Let me think of a food that I ate a lot. Oh my god. I loved You're gonna kill me right now because I make those noodles. But you know how this all started? Because I should not say this online. Because I loved Machuron instant.
Oh no!
I would always make where's the hot dog? Oh my god!
The cheapest of the cheap.
I would make this. Oh my god! I would just it was such a cheap meal, and I would love it. I was just like, oh my gosh, the sodium. Oh, so good. Now looking back at it, those noodles are absolutely gross and horrid.
I have one thing to say to that. I still eat those noodles, and I don't think they're that bad. When I compare them to high quality noodles,
I can't go back.
I am like, you know what, this is better. But these cheap noodles, they get the job done. They're not great, but they get the job done. That's what I think.
Well, they're better instant ramens, in my opinion. Actually, I've told Zeez about this. I have in my head, a tier list of instant ramens.
Yeah, when's the Emmy ramen tier list coming out? I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'd be the first viewer.
I'd have to try all of them first, though. There's a lot I haven't tried. I usually only get one brand. The Shin instant ramens.
Oh, I get those too sometimes. They're not bad. The spicy ones?
Yeah. I love those. Actually, I have some in my cabinet right now.
Yeah, they're not bad. I think I have a couple in mine as well. Might have one after this podcast.
No.
Okay. No.
I was actually thinking about making one myself, but I decided not to.
What about a food that you have disliked your whole life? No phases or anything. Just absolutely, just been you know what? This food, never.
Maybe bitter melon, but I don't know.
Bitter melon?
It's a bitter. I think a squash, but it's bitter.
Aren't squashes already kind of bitter?
It's really bitter. The joke is that you like it when you get older. It's an old person food. Kids all hate it. Because your bitter taste buds, you actually get less of them over time, so you can taste the bitterness less. Some people actually have learned to like the bitterness too. I think I might be getting there actually.
Interesting. Yeah, they say that about black licorice, where only adults like black licorice, or old people.
Well, it's one of those acquired tastes.
Yeah. I think black licorice is fine.
Well, I mean, there's really fishy foods I feel also are an acquired taste, because not everyone has had exposure to them, and some people just really like them.
Yeah, no, I think it's really fun for me, whenever I try new foods from different cultures, because it's just I always feel very hesitant, because I like trying new things, but then sometimes I see something, I smell it, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know. And then I taste it, and I'm like,
okay, some things
whoa.
Smell pretty terrible.
Sometimes I just taste these foods, and I'm like, whoa. I don't know if it's good or bad, but this is just something I've never tasted before. Sometimes that's just my reaction to new foods, is you just never tasted before, so you don't think about it being good or bad. You're just like, whoa, this tastes not something that I've had before. It's fun. Trying new foods is really fun. Even if they end up, sometimes, you get some duds, and sometimes you get some good ones, but just a good amount of the time, it's just wow, that is something new, and it's really fun.
I've tried a lot of different because I have a lot of friends from different cultures. I've tried a lot of different cultures' food at this point, and I feel I'm starting to get how the food is made. In terms of cooking, when you're starting to make a food from a cuisine, from around the world, a culture's cuisine, there's usually a philosophy behind it, and you don't really get it at first. And,
a philosophy?
Yeah, a philosophy. Like with ramen, there's a philosophy behind the ramen, the elements of the ramen. I've told you about this, haven't I?
You have, yes. Now that you mention it.
Yeah. And so a lot of foods have these elements that are supposed to form it and that make it that one food. Pasta's a lot like that too. There's different kinds of pastas and whatnot, and there's the principle, for a lot of them is to use pasta water actually when you're actually making the dishes, to use the water from the pasta when you're cooking it to make the sauce. That's actually a thing. And so as you start to learn about the cuisines, you start to see these patterns show up, and that's always fun when you start figuring it out.
Yeah, I guess you could also say that just food has so much history behind it, or all these things that we combine together for different dishes. There's like so much history behind it all, where people in the past combined things together and experimented with it, and then now it's like reached this point where it has like a cultural impact, and it's like this is like how the food is now. But like thinking about all the years that like led up to it is just kind of interesting. So I guess I kind of understand what you're saying there.
Actually, there's like channels where you can like see what people used to eat in the past, and it's actually kind of interesting because a lot of food in the past was a lot blander than it is today, because we have a lot more access to different ingredients today than in the past.
Sure.
And actually, if you go really far back, there wasn't really even any salt. So the food was just like really, really bland.
Oh yeah, people just be like eating a wheat stalk and be like, good.
Incredible. Whereas now you just have like, would you like some high fructose corn syrup with that?
We have it in a bottle, just down it. Oh my gosh.
I want this broccoli and I've dipped it in high fructose corn syrup. And now it's a masterpiece. Where was I? I was talking about... Oh, I was going to ask, did you know, speaking of like different cultures in food, did you know like dumplings actually like they come from like the Middle East?
I figured.
Really?
Well, where else would they come from? I thought that was just kind of like...
I always thought they were just like from Asia, not from the Middle East, like from East Asia. Because that's like, I don't know, that's usually what I associate with dumplings.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know, it just kind of felt like a thing that I just knew. I don't know.
Interesting. Zeez, your wisdom is infinite.
I don't know about that, but
Truly infinite, beyond my imagining.
Listen, have you seen Kung Fu Panda?
I have seen Kung Fu Panda. I've seen all three.
Okay, are you Master Oogway?
No, I'm not inflated enough to call myself someone like that.
You're not at Master Oogway level yet.
No, not yet. Maybe one day, far into the future.
Did you know they're making a fourth one?
They're making a fourth one? I thought it was over.
They're
like
making
Toy
a
Story
fourth.
4.
Yeah, they're also making a fifth Toy Story, by the way.
They're making a fifth Toy Story? I thought there was no more Toy Stories.
Dude, it should have ended at 3. I haven't even seen 4, but I heard it was...
3 was supposed to be the last one.
Yeah, I've heard mixed results on 4. I thought 3 was a good spot to end it. I don't even know if I want to watch... Well, I will watch it eventually, of course. But like some part of me is just
4
like...
4 was alright, actually. 4 was actually decently good.
Interesting. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on 4, where people think it was trash or unneeded, or some people thought it like opened a new door. But even then, how many new doors can you open?
I actually think I thought 4 was unnecessary, but I thought it was it also I didn't think it like felt out of place. It was unnecessary, but it wasn't out of place. Like it makes sense if you think about the story, but I'm not going to spoil it since you haven't watched it.
There's a lot of sequels coming out now that I think about it.
Well, I feel like it's just safe to make sequels. Like, it's going to sell at least a little.
Yeah, speaking of sequels, I actually, for the first time, I think like a week ago, I actually watched Frozen 2.
Oh my god.
It was so boy. I mean, it made sense. I heard a lot of rumors that like they had like hardly any time to work on the film, and it shows. It really shows. The plot is it's there. It's there. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you?
I have, sadly.
You have? Okay.
Sadly.
Yeah, it's there though. You get it, right? It's there.
Well, it's not like one of those films where like there's like the bad films where you could tell they didn't care about it, but this wasn't one of those. Like you could tell they cared about it.
Yeah,
It just ended up being not great, even though they cared about it. Like, like you can tell there was people on the team that cared a lot about it.
Yeah, for sure. But it was just like the executives or whatever just pushed the film too hard for money or whatever. And it just ended up being not great. Like visually it was still fine. Because everything like Disney makes just like looks nice. But even then it was just like I was watching through it and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I feel like every character is just like stupid. They're just so stupid.
They're just so stupid. Why can't you be smart? Says
literally every character I was getting mad at was because like, why are you acting like this? You're so dumb. Oh, I don't want to go into it for people who haven't seen it.
Original you used to be smarter, like 3 hours ago.
It's not even so much as that, but like Elsa gets like negative. They all get like negative character development. It's so stupid. They literally get negative character development, dude. It's just like it's so dumb. Just go watch Tangled the series, bro.
Movie for everyone that hasn't watched it yet.
Okay, listen. If you like Frozen, trust me. Stop liking Frozen. Go watch Tangled, then go watch Tangled the series. It's so much better. Except Tangled the series actually falls off. I have not
watched Tangled the series, so
in my opinion, season 1 is godlike. Season 2 and 3 fall off pretty hard. I still think they're good, but they do fall off a bit. Season 3 is better. Season 2 is not great, in my opinion. But season 1, godlike. Actually, 10 out of 10, in my opinion.
Just curious, what are your thoughts on the live-action Avatar remake that's supposedly happening with Netflix?
Well, the first time people tried doing Avatar live action, everybody hated it. I remember
there were many problems with that movie. You actually speed up the fight scenes to 6.3 times speed. It actually fixes everything. Also, you just have to cut. Well, because the fight scenes are so slow in that movie. It's just like
they are. Oh my gosh!
Like it feels like they're just punching the air sometimes, and I'm just like, what if we just sped things up and it actually fixes it?
I do think like when I was watching I remember some of the fight scenes. It's so funny. I remember this like movie so well from a kid because I remember being so angry, mainly at the fact they mispronounced like everybody's name when they clearly had like it in the animation, but they just like mispronounced it all the time. And it was just, I thought it was just so odd. But there are so many scenes where it feels like there are like good ideas like for the fight scenes, but it's just performed so terribly. I don't know like one specific example, but it does, yeah, like you said, where if it just was sped up or something, it would be really cool. Because there is some interesting choreography to the fights, but it's just like goes at a snail's pace.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really adapt those very well, especially like, I feel like the director kind of just like went in his own direction. Also, like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna make this darker, and I'm just like, are you
now? No, there wasn't anything with that. I mean, I guess there maybe a little bit, but like not even really, because Avatar is, pretty dark on its own. Like, have you seen Azula?
I mean, I feel like Zuko's pretty dark. Zuko's depressing.
True. My first thought to when I think about dark is like when I think about like Azula's breakdown and then she smashes the mirror. I think that's pretty rough. But yeah, Zuko, it's both of them. Both of them have like, the most darkest stories in the show.
This just brings up a thing that I've been thinking about with movies and directors as of late, like where they like I want to make this more adult, so therefore it needs to be darker. And I'm just
it needs to be edgy.
Like, is being edgy really, like, an adult thing? Like, if you think about it? Like, I feel like being edgy, like, thinking that being edgy equals adult is actually kind of childish. Like, I think it's actually more adult to just accept that the world isn't always edgy.
No, I think that's really true. It's funny that you say that because there's actually, like, a lot of discussion being brought about that. A lot of adult cartoons will tend to have like lots of crude language. Like a good example is Inside Job. There's a lot of crude language, a lot of mature jokes in that. And honestly, every time I just like see like curse words spammed or like mature jokes being made, I just sit there with a straight face. But when they actually go into like the plot and like the characters, I get super excited. And it was pretty interesting. I actually watched the first episode of a new Adult Swim cartoon, which doesn't feature any mature jokes or, swear words. It was called My Adventures with Superman. And I was actually, it wasn't perfect. It was like really, really fast paced. And some of the characters like didn't act well, but it was like an Adult Swim cartoon, but it felt like it could be something that you'd see on like Cartoon Network. For kids, I guess. And it just makes me think like it just depends on like what the content people actually like. And also, sorry, I know I'm rambling here. One last thing. Weirdly enough, when it comes to like fan art, I guess, I've seen a lot of younger artists gravitate to creating more edgier content and older artists creating more like lighthearted content, despite the target audiences for like shows or whatnot being swapped. edgier content targets, older people, and the lighthearted content targets younger people. It's interesting. It's kind of interesting to see, I guess.
I don't think it's that surprising. I feel like as you get older, I feel like you become more aware of depressing stuff that's around you, right? And so, like, when kids want to look mature, so they go like, oh, what do older people look like? They look edgy because they're depressed about the world around them, because they're more aware of things. But then older people are actually being happy that you are happy and being satisfied that you might not look immature because you like wholesome content. That's, I think, actually more mature. It's kind of like how mature people don't care about looking mature,
Yeah, I think for me at least, I've never extremely gone into the edgy stuff. At least when we're talking about crude language, mature jokes. But when we're talking about more depressing themes, I actually can really get into it, or very dark topics. For example, the Owl House has a lot of dark topics, especially with this villain, and I was really into that kind of stuff. I think it's just you just have to hit a nice balance, at least for me. Because, if you talk about dark or edgy things, I can get into it. But if you be way too hardcore with it, where it feels like an internet meme, it's just not something that really appeals to me, I guess. For example, a lot of indie horror that has funny children's mascots, I can't stand it. You got Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy's Playtime. There's all sorts of that stuff. And people go crazy for it. And for me, I'm just I have no interest in it. I think it's so boring. I'm sorry, FNAF fans, but I do not like FNAF that much. I'm just completely.
You're gonna get the entire FNAF fandom after you.
I'm completely okay. I shouldn't say I hate it. I'm completely indifferent. I have no feelings toward it at all. It just kind of exists. That's all I can really say.
I don't have any comments on it. I've never gotten into it, but have you heard me holding back laughter just a moment ago? It was because I was just picturing the scene of someone just trying overly hard to be edgy. It's you see this black sphere, it is the darkest of all darkness, and I am also wearing a red cape with spiky hair, and I have a terrible backstory. This is mega edge.
Yeah, I think it's just because people are smart. When you're making a character and you are trying to purposely make them super edgy, it's just people are gonna be able to tell when it's just you're just trying to make your character edgy. But if you make your edgy character edgy naturally, it works really well. For example, I think a really good character, you probably wouldn't know about this, but The World Ends With You protagonist, Neku, he's pretty edgy at the start of the game, but progressively gets less edgy as he goes on and gets a lot of character development. And I think that's a really good example of a likable, edgy character where, he's very edgy at the start, where he's oh, all people, I hate them. I wish I would never have to listen to another person again. It's always the best to be alone. And it's just oh, it sounds kind of cringe at first when you first listen to it, but it actually works toward the character development. But characters who are edgy and stay edgy and they want to be that way, that's the kind of stuff that just I don't know, is just kind of cringe to me, I guess. Maybe just a little bit, especially if it's just really forced.
Yeah, I feel it's just because you can't take those kinds of characters seriously, because I feel the person writing them isn't fully taking that character seriously in some sense, right? Because
they're just trying to make a cool character. They're not trying to give a character depth. They just want to be oh, he's cool because he's edgy, and he's edgy because he's cool.
Yeah, pretty much. I honestly feel that could be all. It's why are you so cool? It's because I'm edgy. Why are you so edgy? It's because I'm cool. That could honestly be a character in some in some joke video.
That's so good. We'll keep that in the back.
What is his name? What is his name? We gotta name him.
We gotta give him a really edgy name though. Eric. His first name's Eric with a K. A-E-R-I-K.
Eric with a K.
Eric Lunar Star.
No. That's
so
not
edgy.
No.
That's not edgy enough?
Edgy.
What? No, dude, Eric's such an edgy name. Eric with a K is such an edgy name, dude.
Is it? I've never thought about it that.
I think it is. Eric with a K at least.
I was thinking Erickson Blood Rain or something.
Oh, okay. Hold on. You want that tier of name? All right. How about
you need something mega edge.
His first name, Luna.
Luna? Is that a guy's name though? feel like usually girls are called that.
No. But that's the thing, is like everybody was like, that's a girl's name, and he always gets mad about it. You know, there's protagonists like that's like, is that a girl's name? No. It's the moon. Luna Solcryst. Luna Solcryst.
Oh my gosh, I like it.
Luna Solcryst. Middle name, Pavise. Luna Pavise Solcryst. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
There's our edgy OC. I want to see some fan art on my desk by next week. Let's see it.
We need to make a full. I'm gonna try to flesh out this one random edgy character's backstory sometime.
Oh, I'm so ready. Next podcast, I'm ready. I'm ready for
next
Luna.
Podcast, all right. A lot of people don't know this. I like to write, or I used to like to write in my free time. I used to just like making up stories. Actually, Zeez would also. Well, we were in a club together. Actually, that was about that. It was like a writing club, which was really fun.
It was fun. My stories, I did write some serious stuff, but I never felt comfortable sharing it. So I always tended to gravitate toward more like comedic stories, and that was always like what people knew me for in the club. But you were really good at like fleshing out characters and world building, but I guess you can go into like a little more depth. But I just remember reading your first chapter and falling asleep because you purposely wrote it to be boring. Where the main character is crushing seeds in a house, and I'm just like,
oh my god,
why?
Please don't bring this up again. I've actually changed that. I'm actually still working on that story, by the way. I don't know if it's ever going to get published.
I just thought it was so funny, like how everybody would just be like, this first chapter is so boring. It was written well, but it was so boring because you spent like 5 chapters explaining how this guy is like smacking seeds in his house. And that was it. I was just like, oh my gosh, is he gonna stand? Oh my gosh, he stood up. Oh my gosh, is that another character? That's not a guy who's crushing seeds in his hut. Oh my gosh.
I'm so embarrassed right now.
I'm sorry. Dude, listen.
Okay.
Your writing level was far superior to mine because mine was just like, haha, my name is Smeekums the cat. I like chicken wings. Like, that was my
You're
writing.
underselling yourself. I thought your writing was pretty decent. I remember like the collabs we did were all pretty great.
Oh, I forgot about those. Those were fun.
I remember you challenged like one of the writing teachers. You were like, I'm going to write more words for you during NaNoWriMo. So for those of you that don't know, November is National Novel Writing Month for NaNoWriMo, and we participated.
That's right. I forgot.
Zeez challenged one of the teachers.
There was this teacher. He was like one of our like club advisors, and I made it my mission because he was ahead of me like at the start because I wanted to write a super long story, and it was all about words. It didn't matter the quality; it was all about quantity. And this guy, I don't know, like he had to once he goes home from school, he had to just be like, time to write. And that's all he did because his words would just shoot up, and I tried my hardest to match him. I threw together a story so much. I just threw in the most random arcs. I guarantee you, I stole so many plot points from so many different shows I was just in at the time, all to beat this man. And I swear I had him. But at the final day, dude, this guy, he wrote like 50,000 words in a day, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I thought I had
to not
him.
have homework.
I literally was like, all right, you know what? This last week, I'm going to pull ahead. I'm going to get him. And I was ahead of him for like 2 days. And then he just shot back. And I was like, was he actually trying to compete with me? Or was he like just like doing it to write? I couldn't tell. He never let me know if he was like in on the competition. It was like a one-sided rivalry. I didn't know. Maybe secretly he was like, oh, that Zeez kid. There's no way he's going to beat me. I'm a teacher. I can't lose to some freaking kid. And he beat me in the end. I was so mad, dude. I was so mad because they didn't like post results for like a couple days. And I was so mad because I was like, how did this guy beat me, bro? Anyway, that happened.
I still remember you were so devastated when you lost. How he beat you.
I did my freaking best. And, at the end of the day, that story got scrapped. It was garbage, dude. There was no consistency of the plot at all. It was so bad. But I still have 2 of those characters as my OCs, so you know what? We move.
I still have that one story that I was working on. I don't think it's ever going to get done at this point, but I just have fun working on it. And, it's just kind of a side hobby of mine.
For sure. Yeah, no, I haven't really done any writing too much recently. I have done some more like video essay based writing, but I'd really like to get back into writing characters and whatnot, because just thinking about it, it was really, really fun. And now that you just bring that up, maybe for this NaNoWriMo coming up for November, I could try something again. I could try again. Maybe this time he's still out there. I could try and beat him this year. How many years it is later.
It just turns out he's not participating, so you just like beat him by just writing one word. I did it! I'm thinking about that one SpongeBob. Like, SpongeBob just writes the.
That's literally what it would be. I'd make the most interesting crafted the, and that would be it. I would beat him by one word, and that's all it takes.
I feel like I would want to get into NaNoWriMo again, but I have homework.
Yeah, it's just the time commitment is tough. I get it. Plus, I think I'm fine with what I'm doing right now. I'm in like a very transitional experimental period, which it tends to happen like every like 4 or 5 months. As I just like I find a thing, I stick with it, and then I realize, oh my gosh, I'm trash. I gotta completely just redo everything. It happens, Is
this the secret Z cycle? It's like every 4 to 5 months. It's like the Z's cycle.
It basically is. I'd say like every 4 months, maybe it's probably more like 2 or 3 months actually. I'll just like grind on like a certain content thing, and I'll be crazy with it. I'll be like, yeah, these videos are going great. This is awesome. And then by like the end of the 2nd or 3rd month, I'm like, all these videos are trash. I'm trash. I need to improve my content so much. And then I like stop uploading. The uploads are like slow. And then like out of nowhere, I'll upload like so many times. And I think I'm right on the curve. I swear to you, Emmy, I swear to you right now, I am right before the spike. I guarantee it. I'm right before the spike.
All right. I've been down. When you get famous, don't forget your old friends.
I'm not talking about the fame. I'm talking about video output and quality. I think I'm near a spike. I think I'm near it. Not at it yet, but I think I'm near it. I hope.
I thought you were talking more about like subscribers. You're feeling like you're gonna get like maybe like 500,000 new subscribers.
That was my goal for 2023, and I don't think I can make it, unfortunately, but
How many are you at right now? I don't usually keep track of your channel. Actually, I know I'm not a Zeez fan viewer. I try to keep my YouTube viewing separate from Zeez's work.
Out of curiosity, I just want to... Zeez VS 2 obviously is like the most popular one. How many subscribers do you think I have right now? Just out of curiosity.
Last time I remember looking actively, you were like below 100K. I know you have more than 100K now, right?
Nope. I do not.
Oh my god.
I don't have the silver plaque yet. Almost.
Okay. Is it 80K?
A little more than that.
90K.
No, I'll say it. I'm right under 90K. I'm at 89,500 right now.
Oh, okay.
So we're getting there. I think I'll definitely get 100K before the end of the year. I think we've gone on long enough. Is there anything else that you want to say before we end off the podcast? I didn't think we were going to go on this long, but it happens.
I don't think so. I think thanks for watching, I guess, everyone, as per usual.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to say good luck assembling the rest of your computer. I hope you get a good performing PC there. And thank you, everybody, all for watching. I do appreciate it, as always. Next episode of the podcast will probably have our old buddy Racecar627 back on. And then after that, we'll see if we can maybe have like some group podcasts, or we'll have like more than just one guest on. And I'm trying to see again if I can get some creators to join on as well. But it's just, working out the scheduling and whatnot. But we'll see how that happens. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next week for another episode of Catching Zeez. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.